celebrating junior bowling, elevating junior bowlers. This is Prodigy Bowlers Tour. Live on tape from AMF Peoria Lanes in Peoria, Arizona, just outside Phoenix. It's the championship round stepladder finals of the King of the Jungle tournament. And we're pretty darn excited about showing you 5 new faces that have never before been seen on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. These youngsters will have bowled on 8 different animal patterns by the time this competition is over, including badger, bear, cheetah, dragon, elephant, scorpion, shark, and wolf. A medalist was crowned on each of the 5 patterns that they bowled on in round 1. Then the top 10 players advanced to bowl a couple more qualifying games in round 2 on 2 more patterns to winnow the field down to the final 5. And those 5 players will bowl today's stepladder finals on the pattern known as Shark. So, let's meet our 5 finalists. Bowling in the 5th position is Gavin Holter. Gavin is 15 and carries a 202 league average. In his Sport Shot League, he's a 166 average. He bowled his first 300 game 2 weeks after turning 14. He'll face our number 4 qualifier, Austin Muldoon. Austin will turn 19 this month and already has 8 300 games and an 822 series on his resume. One of his 300s came as he was winning his state's Pepsi tournament. The winner of that opening match will face our number 3 qualifier, Michael Chameau. Michael is 17, carries a league average of 176, and has a high series of 722. His school bowling team went undefeated this season, so he is not accustomed to losing. The winner of that match will advance to face our number 2 qualifier, Josh Williams. Joshua is 16 and started bowling when he was 10. A 175 average bowler, his high game is a 299, and he already has 4 tournament titles to his credit. The winner of that match will bowl for the championship today against our tournament leader, Kyle Lawrence. This 19-year-old has a league average of 165, and his career high game is 244. He only bowls on sport shots, which explains why those numbers aren't any higher. He has 3 tournament wins to his credit, and today he's 1 game away from claiming his 4th. And that's our field today on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. It's a long cross-country journey from Prodigy Bowlers Tour's home base in suburban Atlanta to the desert Southwest and Phoenix, Arizona. But the Prodigy cameras have made the trip, and we welcome you to AMF Peoria Lanes in Peoria, Arizona, just a few miles down the road from Phoenix and not too far from Glendale, Arizona, where the Arizona Cardinals play football. This is our first ever Prodigy Bowlers Satellite Tour show, and we couldn't be more excited. Special thanks go out to Bob Larrick, the general manager of the bowling center, and to Tammy Rivera, Bowlero Corporation's senior manager, youth programs and operations support, for making this first Prodigy Bowlers Satellite Tour event happen. We're looking forward to doing more of these in the future. Now you've met our field. There's really nothing else to do but get right to our opening match between our number 5 seed, Gavin Holter, and our number 4 seed, Austin Muldoon. You know as much about these young people as I do, so let's see what they got. And we welcome you to the inside of AMF Peoria Lanes for our first Prodigy Bowlers Satellite Tour event. A little different look. And it's going to be Austin who leads off. Comes up a little high, leaves a 4-pin. Austin with 8 300 games to his credit and an 822 series. He's won his state tournament a couple of times. This guy's a pretty accomplished bowler. and makes a spare in the first frame to get us underway from suburban Phoenix. Now, as you can see, this camera angle we've got doesn't really afford us quite the same view we're used to, where we can see the kids on the lanes, but they'll creep into our view as they head up toward the foul line. Next to go will be Gavin up on the right lane. Crossing over and gets a strike. Hey, any way you can get it done is okay. Well, we are bowling on the PBA Shark pattern. A little longer oil than some of the patterns that we see these kids bowl on occasionally. The Shark is about the closest thing to a reverse block that you'll find on the PBA. There's a lot of oil on the outsides of the lane, a little less on the inside, so it's what you would call out of bounds. You got to stay inside the out of bounds. Although some people are tempted to play up the outside where it's slick. If they try it, we'll see how that works out for them. And this is what sometimes happens. It just stays there. As Gavin found out, send it a little wide, and there's nothing out there to bring it back. I think they'll find more success if they play inside the third arrow. Keep that ball left of about 10 at the break point. And that's left all the way. And he is open in the second frame with 8 out. So a quick 14-pin lead for Austin. One-hander against a two-hander in this match. And even that one got a little outside that out-of-bounds line, and it just labored in getting back. And Austin is left with the 2-4-10 split. Here's how you make it. Get the ball over left of the 2-pin and send that 2 over into the 10. About like that. Nice shot. That was so good, we'll have to take a second look. Watch this ball creep left to the 2-pin. He actually gets it on the way. I thought it came off the wall, but it actually got it on its way. So a good shot. And that'll loosen him up a little bit. So Austin moves over to the left lane. We're obviously here on the end pair. And you see that one got out a little wide as well. It won't come back from over there. And now he's got what I refer to as the naked PBA washout, the 1-6-10. 2 ways to make it, left of the head pin or to the right. If you shoot it this way, we recommend you play it down the left side of the lane and throw it pretty straight. But he's coming up the right side, and that ball is going to labor in the oil again. And that's an open, so the players exchange gifts, handing it back and forth. So Gavin takes the lead while sitting on the bench. As he is now up on the right lane. You just can't throw it out there. There's nothing to bring it back. And now he's got the fence, or the clothesline as we used to call it. Put this ball to the left of the head pin with a little hook, and actually the ball will probably take out all 4 pins. Shark is a tricky pattern, even on spares. But he takes care of this one, and that's a good shot. There are a lot of ways to miss that spare, and only a couple of ways to make it. So Gavin breathes a sigh of relief. Gavin with a 300 game to his credit. He says Jason Belmonte is his favorite bowler. Well, he's going to get a second try at the fence. Gavin playing up that outside of the lane, as I mentioned earlier. This is a pattern that you're really better off playing it inside. You get out there in the oil, and there's just too little friction to bring the ball in. And he covers the spare again. Those are two good conversions of a difficult spare. So now Austin moves over to the right lane. And that's way outside, but he somehow manages to get it to come back to get at least a piece of the head pin, but not enough. And now he's got a real problem. The 2-4-8-10. This a little more difficult than the 2-4-10 that he made earlier, but you shoot it about the same. If you throw it with enough hook, you'll put some English on the 4 pin, and it'll go back and get the 8. But you got to catch it a little thinner than that. And there's an open frame, and now Austin hands the lead to Gavin. Well, when you're bowling on these difficult sport patterns, the game usually comes down to who closes their frames. Well, he started that a little more direct. He didn't swing it out to the right. He started it out in the oil, but his launch angle was more parallel to the boards, and that time it just hooked early on him. And now he's got the 3-6-10. You go cross lane at it to cut down on the angle to chop. And there you have it. A good spare by Austin. Well, Gavin, who bowled his 300 game just a couple of weeks after he turned 14. Pretty nice birthday present. But that ball goes through the nose, and he leaves a somewhat unusual split. This is in the baby split family, in as much as you convert it by touching both pins with the ball. You got to go right between the 9-10. Here's how you do it. Easy enough when you're drawing it up on paper. Ooh, that was close. But an open frame. And once again, the lead changes hands. That's left. But it's a Brooklyn strike, and he'll take it. You get them however you can, especially when strikes are in short supply. He's got the only 2 this game. But now Austin will reach into the bag and try to pull one out of his own. About like that. As solid a strike as you'll see. Austin credits his grandfather as the one who got him started bowling. Yikes. I thought that one might be out wide. Here, let's watch it again. I thought it was out there in the oil, but no, it came jumping back, and now he's got a difficult split. The 3, 4, 6, 7. You slide the 3 over into the 4 and hope the 4 takes out the 7. Not to be. So we're seeing a lot of open frames so far this game between these two players. And it's not all that surprising when you consider the difficulty of this oil pattern. Gavin comes up in that half pocket, leaves a weak 10. Shark used to give me fits. When I got back into bowling about 7 or 8 years ago, after a long hiatus, I joined one of these PBA experience leagues and got acquainted with Shark pretty quickly, and we had a love-hate relationship. Mostly hate. And look at this, Gavin whiffs the 10, so another open, and his lead is down to just 1 pin. Took me a while to finally figure out that Shark is best played inside and without a whole lot of hook, actually, at least for me. And that ball doesn't get up. I think Gavin's just playing too far outside. Here's the 1-2-8. Put the ball on the 1 and the 2. The 2 should take out the 8. Oh, but you got to get the 1. And that is going to be another open. So Austin, it's there for the taking now. Ringing 10. Good shot. Just couldn't get the 10 to go. The thing about bowling on sport patterns when they're like this is you just have to have the patience of Job, because strikes are not going to be plentiful. And look at this, that would have bounced out and knocked out something. File that one away. You can bounce them out in this house. Don't see that all the time. But now Austin will move over to the left lane and bowl his 9th frame, and then Gavin will finish his match.
I was going to say, you guys are like dead even right there.
Austin, who balanced a full-time job while attending high school. Oh my goodness, no. Well, that hurts. And he can't believe he did that. That is costly. That cost him 10 pins in count. So instead of an 11-pin lead, it's back down to just one. And I guess you'd have to call this a difficult spare today. As few strikes as we've seen. Wow. You hear him say, "What are you doing?" Yeah, I know the feeling. Been there, done that. But that's 6 out, and a gift to Gavin at a most inopportune time. Austin, a possible 142. So a couple of marks here, and Gavin can wrap this up. He leaves the 3-pin. And I think in this situation, you just want to leave simple spares. Just get through this somehow. Okay. He covers the 3. He needs to fill 18. Working on a spare. He's got to watch his count even on the first ball. Well, that'll make filling 18 a whole lot easier. There's a strike. And now that means he's got 2 balls to get 8 pins. And that would shut out Austin. Well, it's a crossover, but it's a strike, and that's a winner right there. So Gavin has put away match 1. And Austin is just left scratching his head, wondering what happened. But I can tell him what happened. 4 open frames, including a 0 count on a spare. That will spoil your chances of winning. And he's going to finish the match with the same split he left in the second frame, the 2-4-10. He made it that time. Well, show us a trick shot. Well, that's a pretty good trick shot. It's not exactly by the book, but watch this. The 2-4-10 the hard way. Off the left wall. And whatever it takes. There's his fill ball, 7. He's going to finish with a 129. But it's Gavin who's moving on to match 2. And he will bowl Michael Chameau when we return right after this. Now, bring the spirit of Prodigy Bowlers Tour to your bowling center with Prodigy Bowlers Tour t-shirts and sportswear, including collared shirts with the Prodigy logo printed on the back to show that you support junior bowling. Check out the entire assortment of Prodigy t-shirts in the Brownswick store. Visit PRODIGYBowlersTour.com to see the selection. See the ash gray Celebrating Junior Bowling, Elevating Junior Bowlers t-shirt, or the Who Will Win the Coveted Trophy Pin t-shirt. Or maybe you'd want the one that says, I've come to get my bowl on, right on the front of the shirt, or simply, Bowl Me. There's a t-shirt that says, Bowling, You probably don't get it because it's mainly for smart people. And if you're a proud parent with a junior bowler, we've got a t-shirt just for you. And how about this t-shirt? You're bowling an 8th grader. Prepare to meet defeat. Available in grades 1 through 9, most in both adult and kid sizes. And finally, the shirt that reads, Bowl better, have more fun, take lessons. Then maybe you can keep up with me. The Brownswick store is powered by the people at Cafe Press, and all of these shirts are available right now. Just go to PRODIGYBowlerstour.com and click on the link to be taken right to the store. PayPal and credit cards accepted. That's PRODIGYBowlerstour.com. Get your bowl on and bring the spirit of Prodigy Bowlers Tour to your house. Order now. Go to PRODIGYBowlerstour.com. That's PRODIGYBowlerstour.com. Well, to be honest, that was kind of a match of, here, I don't want it, no, you take it, as both players had difficulty closing frames. But in the end, it was Gavin who stepped up in the 10th frame and slammed the door on Austin when all the chips were on the table. So, by the score of 154 to 129, it's Gavin Holter who'll be moving on to match 2, where he'll face Michael Chameau. And Michael's going to start the match. Now, the folks in Phoenix do things a little differently. They've flipped things around, and we're going to start this match on the right lane. And that ball looked like it was heading right for the nose, but somehow Michael gets the 6 to go out late and starts with a strike. So yeah, usually when we bowl PBA style or match play style, the first bowler throws one frame on the left lane to start, and then they go right lane and left lane in order each time. But we're doing it backwards this time. And Gavin throws a nice ball there in the first frame, but leaves the stone 9. That's where the ball comes in just fractionally high and chops the 5 straight back off the 9. But an easy spare to start. And he covers the 9. Well, this camera angle a little different than what you're used to seeing on Prodigy. Next time we'll get them to move the camera back a little bit so that we can actually see the kids walking up to the foul line and see their faces. The human drama of athletic competition and all. Got to see the humans to enjoy that. Oh, look at this. Well, Gavin doesn't quite get to the head pin and leaves the super washout, the 1, 2, 4, 6, 10. You can make it on the left like this, or you can make it on the right like this and let the ball deflect over into the 6. Let the 6 take out the 10. Either way will work. He's trying it down the left side toward the hole in the middle, but he misses the head pin. And that's 7 out, and that's a costly open. And a big gift to Michael Chameau right out of the gate. Well, I'm going to be mispronouncing Michael's name all day, so I might as well start now. It's Chameau. And there goes the 5, late. And a little double to start. Well, as we mentioned in our setup earlier, Michael's high school team went undefeated, so he's got that winning feeling. And a quick double out of the gate helps his cause. But that ball got wide into that heavy concentration of oil on the outside, and it's not going to come back from there. The 1, 2, 5, 9, Well, you shoot it just like a strike. Put it on the right side of the head pin for a right-hander, as if you were throwing at the 1-3 pocket, and you should get it. Ooh, that's a tough one to swallow there. That actually chopped the 1 and 5 straight back off the 9. Ouch. So he gives the open right back to Gavin. Well, as much body English as he gave it, that ball stayed wide in the oil. Didn't make it back. Leaves the 1-2-4-8. Put that ball in what we would call the Brooklyn pocket between the 1 and the 2. Let the 2 take out the 8. And the ball should deflect on over and get the 4. And he did it perfectly. Well, Gavin started bowling one summer in Chicago, and he enjoyed it so much he got into some leagues, and next thing you know, he's bowling in sport shot leagues and tournaments. And this is a very active youth program at AMF Peoria Lanes. One of the reasons we're here. But now he's going to get another try at the 1-2-4-8. He did it so well in the 3rd frame. Might as well go again at it. Well, and he does it perfectly a second time. Can't ask for much more than that, other than just stop leaving it. Easier said than done. It's easy for me to say sitting here in my chair. All right, Michael up on the left lane with a 16-pin lead. Man, he throws that ball hard. You know, on a long oil pattern, you want to take some speed off. If he would slow that ball down, give it a chance to read the lane, the ball will do some of the work. He just barely ticked out the 5. He carried a strike earlier in the match, just barely tipping out the 5. A little less speed, and that won't be a problem. But a spare in the 4th to maintain his lead. Michael started bowling almost right out of the womb. He says he was 3 when he started bowling. I would assume he was using a ramp or one of those deals with the bumpers. I don't know. But he was bowling in a league at 4. There's a strike in the 5th. That's going left. Well, that is the problem you run into on a pattern like this. When you're playing outside like he's been playing, and you just throw it up the boards, it just stays out there. It never moves left. So you try to point it a little bit, and then it gets into that dry area in the center of the lane, like you have on Shark or on a reverse block, and it hooks. And the solution is to play farther left with your feet. Play down more at the center of the lane Can't swing it out to the right, though, as Austin found out in the first match. I think he had closer to the right angle. It's just he was swinging it left to right too much and left a bunch of 210 combinations. He made 2 of them. Pretty amazing. See, even there, he took a little speed off of it, and it still didn't get up. There's just too much oil out there on the outside to play out there. It's a 1-2-10 washout. You want to throw that 1 pin over into the 10. Well, he had the right idea, just got too much of the 1 pin. If you're gonna play out there, you just got to get a ball with a lot of surface and take some speed off it. Michael in a commanding position now, 31 pin lead, working on a strike. And boy, I tell you what, he's got the right angle right there. And if he hits flush like that, he'll be dangerous. If he hits in the light pocket with all that speed, it may deflect around the 5. If he slows it down a little bit and give it a chance to read, it'll finish hard. But if you hit it flush like he just did, they're going down. And that extends his lead to 41 pins, and look who's in the driver's seat now. Well, he didn't give that one room. He just came over the top of that, pulled it left, and got a Brooklyn to go. It's not how, it's how many. Watch this ball. It's going left. The 9 was the last to go, and he's happy about it. And this is left. That one was way left. And now Michael has the 1-3-6. Tough stuff when you're playing the lanes wrong. Good shot there, though. He moved in just a little bit on that shot, looked to me, and didn't swing it out to the right. But he is walking a tightrope where he's playing right now. See, you get it out there and it just hydroplanes the whole way down. It never has a chance to read. You got no swing area. And you have no pull area, because if you pull it aboard left, it gets into that drier part of the lane and it either goes Brooklyn or misses the head pin to the left. And an open frame, and Gavin's problems grow worse as he is now 69 pins behind Michael, and this may be about to be over. Michael up on the left lane, working on 3 in a row. Not pretty, but that's 4 in a row as he gets a reverse wall shot. It's like pulling your tee shot into the next fairway in golf. Hey, you got a clear shot into the green. Well, let's see here. Gavin can shoot 165 if he strikes out. Michael, if he throws the next 4 balls in the gutter, will have 164, so he needs another pin. to lock a tie. 2 pins to win. And that will more than do it.
That looked good on here.
So with that crossover strike, Michael has won match 2. And he will be moving on. So Gavin will just go through the motions now of finishing out the match. And look at this. This is going way left. Catches just a piece of the 2 pin, so he gets 8. Looked like it could have been 3. Tough stuff. Next time he gets a chance to bowl on Shark, I'd love to see him move left and play around the 3rd arrow, or even a little left of the 3rd arrow. Obviously not the game he had hoped to bowl. But he improved his position, qualifying 5th for the step ladder. He's going to finish 4th. It is so frustrating for a bowler to be on a pair of lanes and you're just lost. You don't know where to throw it. You don't know where to stand. Everything you do doesn't seem to work. There's a spare in the 10th. So he'll finish in the 130s. With good count. Okay, be 131. But here's the guy who's moving on. Michael Chameau. Hope I'm saying that right. Gavin says, so now he misses. Well, it doesn't matter now. Pretty tidy little game by Michael. They weren't all things of beauty, all those strikes, but he got it done. It's a good conversion of that spare. That probably would have struck had the other 3 pins been standing.
What if you 3 win? Funny.
So a strike for 227. And Gavin narrowly avoids being centuried, getting beat by 100. It's Michael Chameau who's moving on to match 3. He'll face Josh Williams when we return next.
Look who's driving up on a bowling date. It's Carol Christensen, the AMF bowling girl.
Hi, everybody. Come on along and join us, where you see the magic triangle.
Sign of AMF Automatic Pin Spotters. It's hard to realize that Carol first went bowling not so many months ago. Look at her now. A strike in the first frame. That wide-open bowling area with no distractions is one of the modern features of AMF's famous underlane ball return. It delivers the ball at the rear of the bowling area where it belongs.
It's just one of the reasons why so many fans have much more fun at Magic Triangle Centers. Next time you go bowling, won't you join us?
While the pocket may have been elusive, strikes were not, as Michael found a way to string 5 X's in a row to go along with his opening double to start the match. And it was just too much for Gavin to keep pace with, as he had 4 opens. Shark is a funny pattern, and it's real easy to get out of sorts when you know a shot that gets away a little wide isn't coming back, but everything pulled aboard isn't going to hold. It's just a very demanding pattern that requires nerves of steel and precision execution. Or a lot of luck, which I think you could argue Michael had on his side, as several of his 7 strikes were crossovers. But Michael's the guy who's moving on to match 3 to face Josh Williams. The very fact that Josh is here with us at all is quite a story, and we'll tell you a little about it as we get into the match. There's the handshake before the match begins. Up close and personal. And I think these two are sorting out who's going to start on which lane. So we'll just tell you that Josh, a right-hander, there he is, a one-hander. Pretty simple, basic game. Got a pretty solid foundation upon which to build his game. And he rips the rack to start. Nice shot for the young man. So now Michael Chameau up on the right. Crosses over, leaves the 9. Michael sports a league average of 176, and I'm not sure if that's I assume that's a sport shot league average. Uh-oh. Well, a whiffed 9-pin, not the way he wanted to start this match, for sure. Michael with a high game of 277 and 4 tournament wins to his credit. That's pretty juicy at his age. Well, another crossover. He's spending a lot of time on the Brooklyn side. Just needs to move his feet a little left. And now we'll get a look once again of Josh over on the right. Smooth stroker. Leaves the 2-5. Well, we mentioned that Josh, lucky to be here. We're lucky to have him, because when he was 6, he had a serious brain tumor. Well, I don't know how many brain tumors are not serious, to be honest. And was healed. I'm not sure exactly how this happened, but 2 days before he was scheduled to start chemo. So I don't know who you pray to, or if you pray at all, but that's something. And here he is all these years later, and a pretty good little bowler. All right, that one deflects a little bit, and he leaves the 5-7 split. Here's how you make it. Just move your feet about 3 boards left. Throw it over your strike target at the arrows. And you should make the 5-7. He gives it a little extra loft. By the way he's shaking his hand, I think maybe he might have hung in the thumb hole a little bit. And that can be caused by a couple of different things. He could have been squeezing it with his thumb. You never want to squeeze the ball with your thumb. Or he may have a fit issue. The ball should never hang on your thumb. If anything, it should come out quick. That's how you get revs on the ball, is get the thumb out quick. And to do that, you want a relaxed thumb. You don't want to hold the ball with the thumb. You guide the ball with the thumb. There's another crossover for Michael. He's zeroed in on that Brooklyn side. Here's another look at it. And he checks his watch. He may have a plane to catch. He just checked his watch to see if it's time for a turkey. Apparently not. Instead, he gets just 4, pulling the 4, 7, 9, 10 out of a full rack. You don't see that every day. But he loses 6 pins in count. And now just shoot this like a strike. There you go. Well, we'll take a close look here at Josh's game. The one thing I notice, and surely when you leave 5-7s, it's a pretty good indication that there's a fairly low rev rate. So I suspect he's probably got his fingers up near the top of the ball. But he shakes him up that time, catches a wall shot. He's actually in pretty good position at release. He could stand to get a little lower, maybe, a little more knee bend. And he gets another light shaker. So he's got that shot working for him. Maybe the play is to stay right around there. And he's made this a match. Got his hand in pretty good position, and then he just kind of gets on top of it at the end. He's begging for it to move left. It got just enough of the head pin to shake them all up. And now this match is closed down to within a mark. And there's a good ball by Michael. He finds the pocket this time. Michael also plays bass guitar. And is active in his church as a production volunteer. Might put him to work on Prodigy one of these days. Well, that one comes up high. He leaves the 6 pin. He'll go cross lane at it. And takes care of it. Well, Joshua, pretty good all-around athlete. He lettered in track and played soccer competitively. He's pretty smooth. Just doesn't have quite the rev rate you need to blow that 5 out. But he gets it to tip over anyway, and he leaves a simple single pin spare. The 7. Move his feet a little to the right and go cross lane straight at the 7. And he takes it out with ease. Well, Peoria, Arizona, for those of you not familiar with the Phoenix area, a little west of town, and just up the road from Glendale, where the University of Phoenix has its stadium. That's where the Arizona Cardinals play. I used to live in Glendale, Arizona when I was a top 40 radio disc jockey and worked on an AM top 40 station here back in the mid-70s called Crux, 1360 Crux. Nice strike there by Josh. Take another look at it. He knew that was good. And there's a good one by Michael, right in the hole, and he slaps out the 10 with that. Well, this camera angle we get, not ideal. When the kid's moving away, we get a nice tight shot of their behinds, but when they move, we see the pins. Going for a double. Not to be. High. Leaves the 3. He could have put some distance between himself and Joshua with that hit. But instead, he's got a fairly simple spare, the 3-pin. Look out. All right. It's safe now. But now Josh, working on a strike, can take the lead if he can carry a strike right here in the 8th. But it comes up kind of DOA, I'm afraid. Dead on arrival. A little too much speed, not enough rev rate, not enough angle. So he needs to make this spare to keep this match close going into the 9th and 10th. Move left 3 boards and throw it over your strike target. Went for it boldly. But that is an open frame, and now Josh falls 22 pins behind Michael. Late in the match. How about it? Oh, no. Well, it's really hard to play a long oil pattern when you have a fairly low rev rate. You've just got to hit flush in the pocket. And that was in that half pocket zone. And that ball had deflection written all over it. But the way pins bounce out of the pit here at AMF Peoria Lanes, I would never rule out converting an 8-10. But it didn't happen this time, and now Michael in the driver's seat. Joshua, the best he can do is 170. Michael may get there before the 10th. Not like that. Goes high. Spare here, and he'll need just a few more pins in the 10th, and he'll be able to put it away. And there's the conversion. So Michael should be able to salt this one away with the first ball in the 10th, I would guess. Barring something crazy, like a foul or hitting his ankle or something like that. I've seen some crazy things happen in this game. Well, that's a pretty crazy thing, but it's enough. And that 6 count will put Michael into the championship match. He hated it as soon as he let it go. And now he's got the rather unusual T formation, the 1-5-8-9. Not that difficult to make, it's just rarely left. Shoot it like a strike, just like that. That's where he wanted to put his first ball. Watch this one again. He made it look easy. Fill it up for 188. All right, 186. And he's punched his ticket to the championship match, as Joshua will finish out his game. Couple of 5-7s and an 8-10. Spelled the difference in this match. But each one of our finalists in the stepladder today was a medalist on one of the oil patterns that they bowled on in the first round of qualifying in this King of the Jungle event. Some of the kids actually were medalists in more than one pattern. And a 6th player who you're not going to see today because he didn't qualify as one of the top 5, Alexander Singh. He was also a medalist on one of the animal patterns, so he deserves honorable mention as well. It's Michael Chameau who's moving on to the championship match to face Kyle Lawrence next. It just keeps getting better and better for Michael Chameau. 2 matches, 2 wins. And while I know Josh didn't bowl the game he'd hoped for, he'll learn from this experience and come back stronger next time. But right now, on the strength of that 186-156 victory, Michael has earned the right to advance to our championship match, where he'll face Kyle Lawrence. One of these two is going to come out of this match as King of the Jungle. Which one will it be? Well, we're about to find out in the next 20 minutes or so. Kyle is going to lead off on the right lane. And his first ball sails wide, missing the mark, leaving the 1-2-4. Well, as you will see, Kyle is a fairly low rev one-hander, but he fought his way into the #1 position of this tournament, so obviously he can hold his own. But this time the shark bites and he whiffs the 1-2-4. So that's an open to start. And certainly not what he had in mind to begin the match. Well, once again, we're back to starting on the right instead of on the left. We're used to match play starting on the left all the time. That's part of the strategy. When you choose to start the match, you're choosing to start on the left. But they play it a little differently here, so whatever works. Michael crossing over. And you see both players have the pro move down. When you throw an errant shot, immediately go to check the approach, because it couldn't possibly be your shot. It had to have been caused by the approach. I razz our kids all the time for doing that. Hey, it might have been the approach. Simple spare, though, the 5-pin. And he gets it. Well, I mentioned I used to be in radio here in Phoenix.
Winning is only beginning. $1 a minute. What could be easier? $1 a minute. Only from your friends at KRUX Glendale, 5 o'clock. Christopher Hayes, and here's Joey.
Oh, that was a lifetime ago. And here I am one afternoon on the radio at Crux in Phoenix, entertaining a guest in studio. Ah, those were the days. Well, he goes Brooklyn again and leaves another 5-pin. I'd say Michael needs to make an adjustment with his feet, move a little left. One thing you'll notice that Michael does on almost every shot is when he gets to the line, he stands up and straightens his left knee. And if he would stay down through the shot, he might just keep it on line a little bit. When you pull up like that, when you rear up, sometimes it makes you pull it left. You also lose a little leverage. Oh, and Kyle goes right through the nose. And now he's got a problem. The 4-6-10. And not much you're going to do with this. Although we've seen one of the players bounce a pin out of the back earlier today. So Maybe the pits and sideboards are a little more lively here at AMF Peoria Lanes. Maybe you can bounce them out. That's the way to play it. Yeah, he almost got one to come out. But it's an open in the second for Kyle. And now that's back-to-back opens. Well, there's a 5-pin right in the pocket, and one of the little tidbits of information he provided me on a little information sheet we asked these kids to fill out is that he bowls with a somewhat lighter ball than most of the players his age and size. I did not find out what the weight is, but if he's throwing a lighter weight ball, that would account for the ball deflecting and going around the 5. Whoa!
You had me scared on that.
Well, that's why they paint the pins, and that's why you use the big ball. But he's on the board now with a mark. And so Michael now up on the left lane. And he trips the 4, and there's our first strike of this match. Gotta like that. Michael's high series, a 702. A lot of these kids just bowl in sport shot leagues out here in Phoenix. That's left. That is left of left. And he's got the 1-3-6. Well, not only is he pulling up, but on a couple of these shots I've seen, he's pulling up and moving left. And boy, that is a recipe for pulling the ball left of target. You got to stay down, stay committed to the shot, get through it. And there's a good conversion of the 1-3-6. So Michael stays clean through 4. And now we are back to Kyle. Let's pay attention to Kyle's right wrist when he comes into view here. One thing he does that I would coach him to fix is he has a broken right wrist. He keeps that wrist broken back throughout his release. Kind of hard to see in real time, but it ends up putting his hand right on the top of the ball at release. You want to get those fingers below the equator as you come through it. And as long as he's throwing a lighter ball, he ought to be able to do that. As we show you how to make the 3-7 split. Get the ball over to the right of the 3-pin, slide it over into the 7. About a 4-1 shot. Ooh, that was close. But an open. And that's 3 opens in 4 frames, so he's digging himself a hole in a big hurry. And clearing a path for Michael. And now he's got to get busy. Wide of the mark again. And he left this in the first frame and missed all three. Let's see if he can do a little better this time. A little left of where he wanted it. Leaves the one pin standing. And that's another open, and he says this is just not going the way I wanted it. But I'm guessing Michael's just fine with it this way. I'm going to go out on a limb and predict that. Boy, he's got that Brooklyn shot down, doesn't he? He's just pulling that ball across the face. Every shot, almost. Covers the 10. You know, if we had a side view, I'd be willing to bet that Michael is letting his right shoulder pass his left. That is a pretty common mistake when you see players pulling the ball time after time. They're just letting their right shoulder outrace their left when they go to square it up. And you can't do that. He finds a way to get all 10 down that time, and he remains clean through 6 frames. So it may be unconventional, it may not be pretty, but he's getting it done, and that's the bottom line. And he's got Kyle in a world of hurt. Down 47 pins, up in the 6th. And Kyle needs to run off a string of strikes, and he needs to start right now. And that's not the way you draw it up, but it's a strike. One thing I notice with Kyle is it looks to me like he's pulling the ball up to the top of his swing instead of just pushing it away and letting it drop into the swing like a pendulum. The swing should be free and easy. You shouldn't have to lift it to the top. Well, that's 3 times now he's missed the head pin right on that right lane. This time he's just got the 1 pin. That's the one he left in the 5th frame when he had the 1-2-4 and got 9 out. So let's see if he can make it this time. Nope. Just trying to steer it too much. You just got to get that ball started in the right direction and just trust that the swing is on line. He brings it back behind his back. He wraps it behind his back a little bit. And it's hard to keep the swing on plane when you do that. That's a good ball right there, just fractionally high. Nearly tripped the 4, but Michael gets 9. And leaves himself another easy one. Wow. Living dangerously. But it's a spare. And good for him. That's 7 clean frames on a tough, tough pattern. And I guarantee you on most of these sport shots, spares will usually win the match for you. They're the difference in this match. And I don't know if you caught that, but he immediately looked down and gestured that he hated that as soon as it left his hand. But he's built up a 52-pin lead, so he's got a few to burn should he happen to get an open here in the 8th. And he does leave the 5 standing, so that'll be 140 in the 8th. The lead shrinks to 41. And now let's do a little projecting. Kyle, if he strikes out in the 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th, can shoot 169. That would force Michael to get a mark somewhere in either the 9th or 10th. But Kyle's got his back to the wall and no more margin for error. He needs to run off a string of strikes right now. And that's what happens when you're throwing a light ball on long oil. That was right in the pocket, but it deflected around the 5. Covers the spare, though. One of the disadvantages to throwing a lighter ball, and there are several disadvantages, but one of them is, especially if you're big enough, you will tend to throw it a little harder. And with bowling balls, you don't want to throw them too hard. You actually reduce their strike ability, if you will. The ball's got to work. The ball's got to read the lane. There's a good shot. You hit high flush, and they're usually going to go down if you throw a 10-pounder. Well, Kyle can now get to 159. Michael up in the 9th frame. He can get there too pretty quick. Oh, but not like that. Well, now.
I actually haven't.
He's going to need a mark in either the 9th or 10th to shut Kyle out.
5, 8, 10.
This would be a good time to get it. Be a crowd pleaser, that's for sure. 6-7. Takes the count. So we know that Kyle can get to 159 if he strikes all 3 times in the 10th. So Michael is going to need to fill 11. Any kind of a mark. And 1 pin on the fill. Well, there's 7. He leaves the 1-2-4. We've seen this a few times this game already. Here's how you make it. Just put the ball in the Brooklyn pocket between the 1 and the 2. If he does that, he can sleepwalk this one home. There you go. So now Michael's task to become king of the jungle is pretty straightforward. Keep the ball on the lane and stay behind the foul line. And there you go. We have a winner. It's Michael Chameau. He is the king of the jungle. Wonder what they'll give him. Maybe a weed whacker. No, actually, they've got a pretty cool trophy for him. Kyle will finish out. Yep, I think I could probably straighten that swing out on Kyle if I had about a half hour with him. He just needs to swing it a little more freely, get a little spine tilt going on, and he'd be golden. Well, there you have it. We have a champion, and it is Michael Chameau. And we don't have a coveted trophy pin for him to sign today. What will we do? You'll find out next.
Is bowling a fun sport? No. Unless, of course, one's got the go to play it.
And smart bowlers get their go with Cheerios. Tasty, toasty O's of oats. The grain with the most protein and vitamin B1. More than corn. More than rice. More than wheat. Cheerios help muscles grow. Grow, grow.
Gives you go, go, go. So, as you prepare to throw, remember, big G, little O. Go, go, go with Cheerios. But watch where you're going.
In our trip to the jungle, it's Michael Chameau who found his way to the winner's circle, having defeated Gavin, Josh, and Kyle to claim the title King of the Jungle. Congratulations to our winner and to all our contestants today. Each one of them was a medalist on one of the patterns bowled on in this event. And no, we didn't ship the coveted trophy pin all the way to Arizona just to have someone sign it. Michael gets a real trophy for his efforts. But we extend an invitation to him and his family. If they want to hop on a plane and fly to Atlanta, his victory today qualifies him to be in our season-ending Prodigy Bowlers Tour Tournament of Champions on June 23rd at AMF Woodstock in Woodstock, Georgia. And if he'd like to be a part of that event, we'll reserve a spot for him in the field. And we'll even let him sign the coveted trophy pin if he shows up. But that's it for our inaugural Prodigy Bowlers Satellite Tour event. It definitely had a somewhat different look and feel to it, as I suspect each one of these satellite events might. Let me know what you thought of it by leaving a comment on the YouTube page. Coming next on Prodigy Bowlers Tour, it's the 2018 GYBT, that's Georgia Youth Bowlers Tour, Tournament of Champions. We'll turn the Prodigy cameras on one of the stepladder finals, most likely either the U15 boys or U20 boys, whichever one has the most Prodigy stars in the field. Then we'll have just 3 more Prodigy events this season before we take a break in July and August. The Prodigy Invitational, a team event, taping June 9th at Brunswick Zone Roswell. The Prodigy Bowlers Tour First Annual Tournament of Champions, where we'll award this year's coveted trophy pin and name the season's Prodigy Bowler of the Year, June 23rd at AMF Woodstock. And finally, our season-ending Adult Youth Scotch Doubles 9-pin no-tap event on June 30th at our home center, Brunswick Zone Roswell. If you want to keep up on all things Prodigy, join our Facebook group. Thanks again to Bob Larrick and Tammy Rivera for making this inaugural Prodigy Bowlers Satellite Tour event possible. See you on our next Prodigy Bowlers Tour event from Brunswick Zone Lilburn, home of the GYBT Tournament of Champions.